Hi everyone, welcome to my channel Notes from the Sewing Room. My name's Becky. It's really nice to have you with me today, so thank you for joining me. Today's video is all about upcycling and refashioning. I absolutely love upcycling and refashioning and basically turning things into other things to wear and use. So I wanted to share with you 6 different things which I think are my favourite upcycles and refashioned items. So I hope you enjoy what I've got to show you. Before we get started, for those of you who are interested, I'm wearing one of my Sewaholic Betty dresses today in a lovely kind of rayon pink fabric that I bought last summer. This one's actually a little bit loose for me because I made it during the time that I was pregnant, but I'm still wearing it, and I love getting extra wear out of things if I can. So it's really quite hot here in the UK today, and I'm sat out here in my summer house, which has actually got a plastic roof, so I'm really quite warm. So if I am looking a little bit flushed, that's why. So let's get to it and I'll tell you all about what I've been making. I've made these different projects over time, so they're not all things that I've made, this week or this month, but they're things that I still love to wear and love to use. So I wanted to share my collection with you. So the first thing that I'm going to share with you was actually made from a bedspread, and that was a bedspread that I actually bought from my local charity shop. I bought it as part of the British Heart Foundation Big Stitch Challenge, which was happening a while ago now, and it was a kind of a challenge that's run by the British Heart Foundation charity each year to kind of sew something from the charity shop. So I love a challenge like that. So this is what I've made. So you may have seen this before on my Instagram page, but it's something that I absolutely love. It is another Betty dress by Sew Over It, and it's made out of this beautiful black and white fabric. This version's actually got this lovely circle skirt as well. Of course, the Betty dress has this lovely V-back detail at the back, and it's closed with an invisible zip down there. I like that this dress has a facing rather than bias binding. I think that adds a really kind of professional finish. And I just kind of love the black and white fabric. I think it's really quite eye-catching. It's all kind of, I don't really know what to call the design, but it's all kind of different shapes, which I really, really like. And as soon as I saw this bedspread in the charity shop, I thought, yes, I've got to have that. I've worn this dress quite a lot of times. By the way, for each of the different items that I'm going to be talking about, I will either put in some footage of me wearing the item, or I will try and put in some photographs as well, potentially of, if I can find them, the item that it started off as, and of course what it's ended up as, and me wearing it as well. So hopefully you'll find that useful and you'll like seeing kind of the journey of the garment. If you are unfamiliar with the Sew Over It Betty dress, it's one of my absolute favourite patterns, and if you are a regular viewer, you'll know that I've made it quite a few times. By the way, if you are interested in seeing my full collection of Betty dresses, do let me know, and I could potentially film another video about my kind of full collection of dresses. So let me know in the comments below if you are interested in that. But I would say that the dress is suitable for confident beginners. It's a kind of throwback to kind of 1950s fashion, which I absolutely love. And one of the things about the pattern that I particularly like is that you can use the bodice with different skirts, even if they aren't, in the pattern pack. So I've made the Betty dress before, of course, with the circle skirt, like the black and white version I just showed you. But I've also made it with a gathered skirt, like the version that I'm wearing today. I've also made it with a pleated skirt as well. So you've got lots of different options. And if you are interested, should I say, you can go on to the Sew Over It website and also download the add-on pack, which has got sleeves. But I must say, I tried to add on the sleeves from the add-on pack, and it comes with a slightly different bodice. I guess it's got slightly different shaping to it or something. I'm not really sure. It looks very similar, I must say, to the version that I'm wearing today and the black and white version, but for some reason I just couldn't get the fit right in the add-on pack version. So I don't know if the sizing's changed slightly from when I bought the pattern, but there we are. But I like the version without sleeves anyway, so that's a winner from my point of view. If you have made the Betty dress and you do like it or you don't like it, I'd love to know how you found the fit and what kind of fabric you used. The black and white version, because it's bedspread, is a cotton version, perfect for summer. And I actually think, considering it was a bedspread, it is actually quite dressy. I think, I have actually worn that into the office before, believe it or not. And I've worn it out and about as well. And it's great for just kind of pottering around. I'm not someone that likes to save things for best, if you know what I mean. I do quite like to just wear dresses. I do tend to wear dresses and skirts most of the time, and I don't really care if I'm kind of pushing the pram at the park wearing a posh dress. I think, well, why not? At least I'm getting my wear out of it. But I have worn the circle skirt version, the black and white version, quite a few times, and a few people have said, you know, I really like your dress, where did you get it from? And that's always like the best compliment, particularly when it's been upcycled from a bedspread. I do think the Betty dress is really super flattering, and it's available in UK sizes 6 through to 30, so I would recommend you trying the pattern if you haven't already. I believe it's available in both a PDF and a printed pattern. Item number 2 that I want to share with you as part of my upcycling refashioning is another sew over it make, and that is the silk cami top. So here is my silk cami top. Sorry, it's a little bit creased. I got it out of the wardrobe and thought it was okay, but now I've come down here in better light, it's actually a little bit creased, so forgive me for that. But I really like this top. I've made it a number of different times, and this particular version, as you can probably tell, is not made from a silk. It's actually upcycled from a man's shirt. So I bought the shirt from the charity shop, and yeah, you can't go wrong really. The shirt was not very expensive at all, and of course I've made myself a lovely top to wear, which, to be honest, I think is quite smart, because it's made from this kind of lovely shirting material. So I've actually made another version upcycled as well, which was a white version, which I actually edged with bias binding, but this version I did add in the facing, which comes with the pattern. Now, if you are unfamiliar with the silk cami top, of course you could make it in silk, but of course you don't have to. Most people, I'm guessing, don't make things in silk. I know I certainly don't, it's too expensive. And to be honest, I'm not sure how breathable it is. Maybe it's breathable, I'm not sure, I've never really used it. But this top can be made in all kinds of different materials. You could make it in a cotton like I have, you could make it in a cotton lawn, you could make it in a rayon, a viscose, perhaps even a lightweight chambray fabric, something like that. Even a linen, I think, would work quite nicely for this pattern. Now, it's got this lovely rounded neckline. It's got obviously a facing that finishes the neckline and the arms as well. And it's got a kind of rounded, slightly rounded hem at the bottom, which I think is possibly slightly higher at the front than it is at the back. So this version, the back is supposed to be cut on the fold, but I couldn't do that because of I was upcycling. So I've actually joined 2 pieces of fabric at the back to create that that back bodice section, but that's worked absolutely fine. The top doesn't have any fiddly bits, so it's absolutely suitable for beginners. There's no darts in here or anything like that. Probably the most complicated part is adding in the facing. So I really do like the silk cami top. I don't know if you've tried it. If you have, I'd love to know how you found it. It's available as a PDF pattern on the Sew Over It website, and it's available in UK sizes 6 through to 20. I would recommend you trying this project if you just want a quick make, if you are perhaps an experienced sewer, or, you know, if you are new to sewing, then it's a good place to start as well. Using a man's shirt to upcycle is great, or of course you could use anything else that you've got kicking around the house, or that perhaps you've picked up from your local charity shop. Item number 3 in my upcycling and refashioning list is actually another Sew Over It pattern. You can tell I'm a fan of Sew Over It. So this is actually the Emma dress. So this is actually a knit-based project, and you can make it in stable knit fabrics, or that's what it recommends. I actually haven't done that in this case. I've used, I'm not exactly sure what it is, because of course I did buy this material, kind of the original dress, shall I say, from the local charity shop again, but I would describe it as a kind of viscose, a kind of heavier weight viscose type fabric. I believe this dress was originally from Bowden, so I felt like I got a real bargain from my local charity shop when I picked this up. I will put in some pictures of what the dress originally looked like, and me wearing the dress as well, so that you can see. The skirt on the version that I've made here is slightly different to the skirt on the version in the pattern pack. I have made the version kind of as is in the pattern pack before, really like it. It's just that because of the type of fabric that I got and the shape of the material, I guess, I just couldn't really do the skirt in the way that it was designed to do. But I love this dress. I've worn it loads and loads and loads. It's supposed to have a zip in the back to finish it, but to be honest with you, I found in the versions that I've made that they've been fairly loose, so I've been able to get the dress on over my head without undoing the zip basically. So for this version, because it's in this kind of viscosy lightweight jersey fabric, I decided just to not bother putting the zip in, so that's what I did. Even though it's a fabric, even though it's a project that's made for knit fabrics, it is actually finished with a facing around the neckline rather than a neckband, but of course you could change that if you wanted to. So let me just hold this up so you can see it. So this is this beautiful green fabric, and I actually used part of the lining to create the princess seams here. So the plain green fabric was the original dress lining, and I used some of the original dress lining to create the facing on the inside as well. And then the patterned pieces of fabric were actually from the original dress. And I managed to do the pleated skirt, but just not quite as fitted, I suppose, as the original pattern pieces. But yeah, so my skirt's a little bit more flared, if I'm honest. But this is just such a lovely dress, and I've worn it loads and loads over the winter. It's really ideal, you know, when you're just in a rush, or you just having one of those mornings where you can't really be bothered, but you just want to put something on that kind of makes you feel nice, if you know what I mean. This is my go-to dress, and it looks great with a cardigan. You can put a jumper over it if you want to, great with tights. And yeah, I just absolutely love it. I recommend the Emma dress if you haven't tried it. And why not try upcycling something that you've got at home, or, you know, picking up something perhaps from a local charity shop to upcycle if you wanted to. You can make it with 3/4 length arms. Of course, you could cut the arms slightly shorter, make it with short sleeves if you wanted to, or you could extend them, make it with longer sleeves. I think there's a lot of interesting details in this. I particularly like the princess seams down here. I think that adds a different interest to the front of the garment. And yeah, I quite like the pleated bits in the skirt as well, so it makes it quite a kind of smart casual type outfit, so kind of my favourite type of thing to wear, to be honest. The Emma dress is supposed to be for stable knit fabrics rather than the viscose like I used. I would say it is definitely suitable for confident beginners. If you are kind of new to sewing, you've made a few things before, why not give it a try? Project number 4 that I wanted to share with you today is actually a self-drafted skirt, so which has got a button down front. So this is the lovely skirt that I've got here, and this started off its life as a dress. So I bought this from a charity shop as well, and I love shopping around in charity shops, just kind of looking for a bargain, looking around to see what I can refashion to kind of turn it into something else. I just find refashioning just really fun, something different to do, and you know, it means that you're not necessarily following pattern instructions. Even for the things that I showed you before, I've had to kind of make tweaks here and there sometimes. But I love kind of dreaming of, you know, what something could become. So refashioning is something that I've always enjoyed doing, and it's not as scary as you think it might be if you wanted to give it a go. So this is my skirt here. So as you can see, it's got a plain waistband, and I don't know if you can see, but I've mishmashed some different buttons down the front of my skirt there. So I've gathered the skirt into the waistband, so it's got gathers along here and gathers at the back as well. It's a knee length skirt, and it's absolutely perfect for summer because it's a lightweight cotton fabric. I don't think I can find any pictures of what the dress originally looked like, unfortunately, because I did make this probably a couple of years ago, and I've since changed my mobile phone, so you know what it's like, some of my pictures have got lost, unfortunately. And I think that was one of them. But yeah, so this is my skirt, and I recommend you giving this kind of project a go. So easy to do, you don't need a pattern to do it, and you know, just adding on the buttons down the front I think is quite a nice sort of interesting feature. I quite like doing buttonholes. Sometimes I find sewing on buttons a bit of a pain, to be honest, but I tend to do them in front of the TV, so that's okay. But yeah, this has had a lot of wear. It probably looks a little bit washed out, if I'm honest, but it's something that, you know, I bring out every summer and always enjoy wearing. Project number 5 that I wanted to share with you today is actually a Sewaholic pattern, and that's the Fraser sweatshirt. So I've made this sweatshirt a couple of times, and the version that I'm actually sharing with you kind of in person today is actually not the upcycled version, because if I'm honest, I couldn't find it in my wardrobe, but I am going to put some pictures of me wearing the upcycled version in, and what the jumpers look like to begin with. So the upcycled version is made from 2 different types of knitted jumper fabric. So I bought both of them from the charity shop. One was red and one was grey. So I used the red version to create the cuffs, the neckband, the hem band and the faux collar, and then I used the grey to create the rest of the jumper. But just to give you an idea, I've got another version here. So if you are unfamiliar with the Fraser sweatshirt, I think there's 3 different versions in the pattern pack that you can try. There's different sleeve variations, there's long ones, there's 3/4 ones, I think there's short sleeve, and it's a really nice pattern that's actually perfect for kind of autumn, winter, if you are thinking ahead to things that you might make later in the year. So this is a version that I made that's got 3/4 length sleeves. This version is actually made in a quilted sweatshirt type fabric, and I used a navy fabric to create the faux collar, and of course the grey fabric to create the rest of it. But the other version that I'm showing you in the pictures has also got 3/4 length arms, and it's quite a nice sort of different jumper. I quite like the faux collar detail, and I like that you've got the opportunity to kind of play around with different fabrics to highlight the faux collar detail, or you know, you could highlight the cuffs in a different fabric or the hemband, etc. I'd say that the Fraser sweatshirt is suitable for probably intermediate sewers, because the collar, the faux collar detail is a little bit tricky to put in, just a little bit fiddly really to try and sort of sew around the different kind of bends and corners. It's absolutely fine if you do take your time, but I did find that a little bit tricky. Now, this is a project that is suitable for a range of different knit fabrics. The upcycled version that I made was made in more of a kind of a softer, looser kind of knit fabric, a kind of traditional jumper fabric, I suppose. But the version that I've made here is actually made in this quilted type fabric, but I think it would also be fine in a Ponte Roma or perhaps a more of a traditional sweatshirting fabric. I did find that the bodice came up quite short, so that's something to keep in mind if you are making this project. I'm quite a tall person, I'm 5'10", but if you are taller than me or more petite than me, then perhaps keep in mind that I did have to extend the pattern pieces slightly. From memory, I think I extended them by about 2 inches, but I'm not 100% sure now, but I think that's what I did. So it's definitely worth having a look at the pattern pieces, or the bodice pieces, should I say, measuring them on yourself and just seeing what you think before you cut out your lovely fabric. The final project that I wanted to share with you today, and number 6 in my list, is actually a book bag. So this started its life as a cushion, or it was cut out to be cushions, should I say. And I just decided that, do you know what, I don't really need that many cushions, so I'm going to make a book bag instead. I love making a book bag, I don't know about you, but they're just such quick projects to make and so useful. You can use them for all kinds of different things, and this is my version here. So this is actually a kind of cotton duck fabric, I would describe it as, and I've actually just used a plain cotton on the inside of my bag. I think it's probably a calico, to be honest, that I've used on the inside of the bag. So this is actually a Cath Kidston cotton duck fabric, and I will put in a picture of me using this bag out and about as well. It's had a lot of use, it's been through the washing machine a lot of times, but I still really love the red fabric and the flower detail that's on there. If you haven't made a book bag yet, I know it's just one of those things you kind of think, oh, I'll get around to doing. It's just a really quick, easy little project. But it's just so easy to do. You know, sometimes you just want that kind of quick sewing fix. I know I do. This is the kind of project that I go to, and I'm really pleased that I decided not to make this as a cushion in the end. So I suppose, strictly speaking, this is not a refashion, but it was cut out to be a cushion in the first place, so I've kind of changed it. So I thought I'd include it in my little list here today. Yeah, all I've done is joined the 2 different fabrics together, and then added on the handles, and then used just a straight stitch to stitch all the way around the top. A perfect little bag. I hope you've enjoyed learning about my upcycling and refashioning projects today. If you have, I'd love it if you could hit that like button and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed. I really do appreciate it, and I love that you enjoy watching my videos, so thank you for joining me every week. I really do appreciate it. I do try and put videos out every Monday, family life allowing, but if not, I do try and go for Tuesday instead, but I do aim for the Monday if at all possible. If you do hit that like button, I'd really appreciate it, because it kind of tells YouTube that you know, obviously you like the video, and it'll show my video to other like-minded people and people that like sewing. So that would be amazing if you could do that for me. But thank you for staying with me today and for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.